Good afternoon. We Can Do It Women. I am your host, of course, Debra Morrison, and I am the visionary for our We Can Do It Women movement, which invites each of us, 60 and wiser women, to come out of the sidelines and into the spotlight so that our next years are our best years. We're committed to nothing less. And I am bringing you every week a prominent feminist woman in various specialties. And today's specialist and vibrant woman is Ellen Dolgen. Ellen, welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I love your whole theme, and your energy and your passion totally aligns with mine.
Excellent. Well, I want to give our listeners and viewers alike just a little bit of history about Ellen, because she's certainly storied. And wow, does she give us a whole lot to think about and chew on and discuss. She has been working more than 20 years, elevating and educating women through her books, syndicated articles, blogs, special events, media appearances, out the nose. We'll detail some of those. And all of this is around the topic of menopause. Yes, menopause. No one's really talking about it, but she is, because she is motivated by her own difficult experience for which she was totally unprepared. We're going to have her talk about that. She's dedicated her life. Wow, talk about transitioning her own challenges into paving the way for other women to ensure no other woman has to suffer in silence. Okay, my hat's off to Ellen. Thank you. Now, Ellen has been featured, one of the first one of the first bloggers of any gender, featured on HuffPost. She's been recognized as a trusted source for empowering menopause information by Healthline, Medical News Today, Prevention Magazine, WebMD. She's appeared on Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley. Yes, she has. Katie with Katie Couric. HuffPost Live with Kim Cattrall. Rachel with Rachael Ray. NBC Nightly News Today. NPR. Oprah Radio. And dozens of other regional and national outlets. Her corporate wellness programs and workshops have established a powerful foundation for understanding the effects of menopause. She addresses workplace-related issues, improved overall productivity, job satisfaction, and employee retention. I'm telling you, she is a wealth of information. I want you to take us back, Ellen, to some symptoms that you didn't even understand fully in your early 40s, wasn't it?
Yes,
Talk to us about it.
definitely.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to tell you why I'm in the vagina business. I did not go to college for this. Trust me. This was not my focus. And my mother never said the word.
Oh,
I
yes,
grew
of
up
course.
in a puritanical house where we didn't talk about anything, let alone menopause, nothing. So I really, this is became my encore career. And you're actually absolutely right. I suffered, and I really knew nothing about this time in my life. I didn't understand the stages of menopause.
Mm.
I didn't understand when it happened. I literally thought it meant you were really old, and
Yes, of course.
it happened way past your 60s, maybe 65, 70. And by the way, that's not old because I'm 71. And yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Mic drop. Ellen, you guys, look at this woman, 71. Okay, I'm just saying, you're looking good, girl.
Oh, well, I try to utilize every tool I can. Anyway, so what happened to me was basically in the middle of a business meeting, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
I'm talking mid-sentence, my brain froze.
Oh my.
It wasn't like, where's my keys, or, I can't find my glasses. No, it wasn't that. That's sort of not a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a brain freeze.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, I'm tired, and
Yeah.
maybe, I'll be fine tomorrow. And I tried to like make light of it. My husband and I work together and play together. We've
Yeah.
been married, we'll be 49 years this year.
Congratulations.
He's still on probation. I'm not sure yet, but okay. And So he kind of finished my sentence for me, because he knew what I was trying to say. But it kept happening over and over again, Deborah, to the point that I stopped speaking
Oh,
in
yes.
meetings
Oh,
because
yes.
I was afraid it would happen.
Of course you were.
And yes, and then I became sleepless and not in Seattle with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, right,
I
right.
was, yeah, not that cute. I was a mess. I couldn't sleep. And I was a world-class sleeper before that.
Yeah.
And then I had these emotional highs and lows. Like one minute I'd be fine, and the next minute I would be angry, emotionally charged up. Like it wasn't me. I kind of
Yeah.
felt like an alien had taken over my body, and I really didn't know who I was anymore.
That's so
That's
scary.
what it was like. And I was in my 40s.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So I didn't think about menopause.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about menopause, but who thinks about menopause in their 40s? I mean,
No one.
nobody, right? Right. So luckily for me, I ended up in the kitchen of a very a well-known menopause specialist, gynecologist, and he was retired though, and I was drying a wine glass, literally, and we had just been invited to their home for dinner, my husband and I, and a couple other couples, and I started crying, like I was hysterically crying while drying a wine glass. And Joe comes over to me and goes, "Ellen, are you okay?" And I said, "Look, don't tell David because I don't know what I'm going to do with this information yet,
Yeah.
but I think I'm in the early stages of dementia. I can't think, Joe. I can't remember what I was going to do. I'm in the middle of a business meeting. I'm literally talking about something I know for like the back of my hand,
Backwards and forwards. Yeah.
and my brain just froze. And it keeps happening also socially. And I said, my emotions are out of control. I can't sleep. It's costing us a fortune
Yes, of
because
course.
I'm buying so much stuff all night
Online.
long. I'm just like,
You're one of those QVC buyers.
yeah, I was. Capitalism was thrilled with me, But I mean, it was crazy. I always say, I'm not kidding. I bought a set of knives that are supposed to make a rosette out of a radish. And those arrived to the house. And my husband sees this. He goes, "What do you do with these knives?" I said, I'm going to make rosettes out of radishes. And he says, "You hate radishes." I said, "Oh, that's right. I forgot."
Well, maybe
So,
this will turn the tide with me. Like,
yeah. And P.S. I tried to cut the radish in half with this knife. It was like plastic. It
of
was,
course.
anyway, but that's the kind of thing that was going on. I mean, my whole life was topsy turvy. So this doctor puts his arms around me and he says, "Ellen, I'm pretty sure you're not in dementia. You're in perimenopause." I
Oh,
said, "Well,"
thanks
and
be
then
to God.
I looked at him. Now listen, I was so mad at him that he thought I was old. I looked at him and I said, "Joe, I am too young for that. Are you telling me that I'm old now? I'm in menopause?"
Yeah.
He goes, "No, Ellen, I didn't tell you you were in menopause. I said perimenopause." I said, "What in the world is
Yeah. Yeah.
that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And, he starts telling me and teaching me, and then he mentored me. We would go to lunches. He brought me the studies. He showed me all the information. He was amazing.
What a
And
lifesaver,
then,
Ellen.
yes, and then he taught me that there are menopause specialists. Who knew? And that I need to find one. He helped me do that. He said, "Ellen, your hormones are way out of whack.
Yeah.
Some women go through this without any symptoms, and they breeze right through. Some
Mm.
women have one or two, but most women, and I found out later, 80% of women have menopause symptoms.
Wow.
And yeah, and perimenopause can begin, early in your
Yeah.
30s to 45. And menopause starts between 45 and 55.
Okay.
The average age is 51.
Okay.
So think about that. The first stage is perimenopause, and I call it, in layperson speak, when your ovaries are starting to retire.
Yeah, you said that
Okay.
they're pooped out.
They're pooped out, they're exhausted. And by the time, yeah, they're done. You've done enough. It's okay. And by the time you reach menopause, which is defined when a woman has been without any bleeding at all for 12 consecutive months, uh, then you arrive in menopause. It's literally one day of your life. Nobody celebrates it. I'm really
No,
annoyed. Yeah,
no.
I think we should. There's no Hallmark card, nothing. No cap and gown ceremony, nothing. After all we go through.
Yeah,
And then
really.
the next day you're in postmenopause,
Yes, of
the
course you are,
rest of your
because that
life.
day is gone. That day is gone. I mean,
And now you're in postmenopause the rest of your life. Now, most people refer to postmenopause as menopause, which is
absolutely.
fine. I'm just telling you the technical difference.
I appreciate
And
that.
yeah, and the perimenopause stage is like, can be 6 to 10 years where your ovaries are retiring, and it's full of symptoms, like lots of symptoms. Matter of fact, on my website, ellendolgen.com, I have a free symptom tracker that
Yes, you
women
do.
can download. And if you start having marks on that, you need to find a menopause specialist because
I
you
tell
need
you.
help. Yes.
Absolutely.
But so it's a good way to kind of figure out what's going on with you if you start tracking your symptoms on my free chart. And but most women think that you just on one day stop menstruating. That's not how it works.
It's
The
right.
body goes through a process that can cause a lot of symptoms for women, sometimes debilitating, like mine were. Yeah.
I want to go through. This is a fine symptom tracker. I invite everyone to download it as I have done. I mean, hot flashes and night sweats. We kind of that seems to be more prevalent. Insomnia, low energy, exhaustion. Okay, abdominal, uterine bleeding, sore, swollen breasts, hair loss, facial hair, dry skin, acne, musculoskeletal disorders, urinary incontinence, numbness and tingling. That's interesting. Tendinitis. I found that interesting. Vertigo. I expected that, I guess. Loss of muscle mass. Wow. Boy, doesn't this point to us needing to be, doing strength training? Migraine, stiffness, joint pain, heart palpitations, deepening voice, tinnitus, weight gain. A lot of women suffer that. Vaginal discharge, vaginal dryness, painful sex, brain fog, memory loss, depression, anxiety, irritability, social withdrawal. These are interesting little, as you say, checkpoints that you want to be privy to so that you're not suffering alone. This is what you've been so wonderful about, Ellen. You are not interested in anybody else doing this by themselves.
Right. I suffered for years without knowing anything. And so what did I do? I said, I'm writing a book. I'm going to
Yeah.
write a book. I called it a small book with a big story. And I'm not a writer at all. And as a matter of fact, I never had a diary. I wasn't that type.
Okay.
Okay. So I just, of course, was mad. And I'm going to write a book that I was going to want to, I was trying to find because the books at the time were really written by doctors for doctors. Now there's some great books that aren't like that are
Okay.
actually are written more for lay people. But
Yeah.
they were way over my head in the all the medical
Jargon.
genre world, and it's too much for me.
Right.
So I wrote this book. I called my son in New York, who is a great writer and an Emmy Award-winning writer, actually now. But and I said, Jack, when you come home for the holidays, will you read the book I'm writing? He goes, Mom, you're writing a book? I said, Yeah, I'm writing a book. I need to help women so they don't suffer like I did. I'm just
Yeah.
going to write a book. So he comes home and I said, Jack, I can't wait for you to read the book. He goes, Okay, he goes into the office. I go, Oh, no, no, the book is in the living room. He goes, The book's in the living room, Mom? I don't understand. I said, Yeah, it's on the floor in the living room. He looked at me and he goes, You hand wrote the book? I said, Yeah, I hand wrote the book. I don't know how to put it on a computer or any, I didn't know any of that. I mean, this is a long time ago. I
Yeah.
wasn't that computer tech savvy at all
Right.
22 years ago. What did I know?
Yeah.
And He was hysterical laughing. I mean, cutely.
Yeah.
He thought it was cute, but also unbelievable.
Okay. Well, Jack, you need to come home more often then, sweetheart. I mean, help your mother. Let's get serious.
So he did. He said, "We're going to pick the book off the floor, Mom." Uh-huh. I wish I'd had a video of this. I
Oh, I'm
don't.
sure. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. It would have been if his face, even. I wish I had a video. We should do an enactment. We should do an
You
enactment.
should. Oh my
We
gosh, it would
should.
be terrific.
So anyhow, pick the book off the floor. He put it on a Word doc. He helped me edit it. He's a great writer. And then the book was done. I sent it to some, menopause specialists, Joe being one. They all vetted it. An endocrinologist vetted it. It was cute because I called an endocrinologist very, very well, um, uh, you know, uh, appreciated in the industry, not just by women, but also, was very involved in the endocrine society. And he said, "Well, I don't really have a lot of time to read this, Ellen." I said, "That's okay. Whenever you have time, just do it. Because I don't want to give anything that's incorrect,
Correct. Yeah.
any of the information." I received a text from him. He said, "Okay, I devoured the book." It was hysterical. And he said, "There is nothing that you reported here that's not correct." I was so happy.
Oh, an
But
author's dream. Yeah.
yes, it was. And so anyway, the book came out. We self-published the book because nobody wanted it. No one wanted to talk about menopause. I tried with friends who are women. They didn't want to be known for a book on menopause. They would not be my agent.
Now, and they wouldn't even be your friend after you self-identified as the vagina whisperer.
Exactly. Exactly. So here's what happened. For some reason, Rachael Ray's producer found my book and she called me and said, we want you on the show. We want to hear about this book. It's a riot and we love it. And it's also informative. And I said, "Well, I like humor because it helps me with life. So I laugh at things that are happening to me and it makes it easier for me. That's just the way I live my life." So I flew to New York, got back, and then I got called by a Hyperion Voice, which is a division of Disney ABC. They wanted to buy the book. I know. I was like, "Oh, well, okay." And
Okay. I'll
yeah,
have to ask my agent.
yeah, right. And I said, "I'll get back to you." So
Yes, of
now I
course.
had to find an agent,
Of course you
and
did.
of course, guess what? Everybody wanted the book because I already had a deal.
Of course. Of course. Isn't that how it works?
Anyway, we sold the book. We penned the book by E because instead of Ellen, because first of all, Jack helped me write the book. It had other women's stories in it, which I had interviewed. And I just felt the book was by everyone. And
Okay. Okay.
okay, but the world really wants the author, so that didn't work out so well. It's okay. They only wanted to interview me, and but we did all that. And my Menopause Mondays blog was born. I started that and trademarked it, and it comes out every Monday. It's
Yes.
free. And then recently, after popular request, I created a menopause course. And that course is called Fearless Vagina, a crash course in mastering menopause. Because let me tell you, you have to be fearless.
Yes.
You do. You have to be fearless to be your own health advocate.
Right now.
And so, exactly. And that just came out in December. So, and here I
So
am with you. So,
I know. I know.
I probably talk too much, but that's my
Oh,
story.
not at all. I'm certainly I'm riveted. And one of your quotes, an Ellen Dolgen quote is because I learned to put myself on my own to-do list.
Yes.
And perimenopause taught me that, by the way, because if you don't take care of yourself, your whole world starts to crumble. Wow.
You got
Truly
it.
spoken right there. Right
And
there.
talking to the over 60-year-old, a lot of women think that if they aren't with a partner or having sex, that
Yeah.
they don't have to take care of their vaginal health.
Okay.
They literally forget about it.
Yeah.
And your that vagina, vulva, whatever you want to call it, people have pet names. I was in the vagina monologues. When my first book came out, they said, you got to be in the vagina monologues. I
Of
said,
course.
I don't do theater. They made me do it. It was so, I had diarrhea for a week before that. Anyway,
It
I
was such a
did.
good.
I was so nervous.
Yes,
Anyway,
of course.
but the point I'm making is no matter what you call it, it is a body part, just
Yeah.
like your heart,
Right.
just like your eyes. You need to have it checked because
Yeah.
what's happening to older women who are just ignoring that part of their body is
Right.
they have increased UTIs.
Yep.
And when you're older and you have a UTI, you can become septic in two days.
It's
And
so true, Ellen. Oh my gosh, that is a risk.
I have a friend whose mother just died in her 80s, early 80s, completely healthy woman. Not, I mean, she's a woman who's exercising
Yeah.
still, who's has a big life. She got a UTI and died from it within 2 days. That could have been prevented by
Prevented.
local estrogen therapy, which most women need, according to the Menopause Society and all the doctors I interview, after the age of 65.
Okay.
Most of us need that.
Okay.
And so, also, without keeping everything moist and plump in there and healthy, you can also have bladder issues, and it can
Okay.
cause bladder leakage
Yeah.
and urinary incontinence. And guess what? The most common reason women are in nursing homes: urinary incontinence.
Yes, of course. Yes, of
So
course.
it could be prevented.
Mm, mm. Wow. This now bring us back to some of these studies. Like there were studies I read a lot on you, and I'm recalling some of the studies early on, especially were featured in that CBS piece that you did. It was wonderful about studies. Of course, there weren't many studies around women's health in the first place. We can thank Joe Biden for signing on more funding for
Right.
research into
Right.
women's lives. Like, okay, like maybe half the population we probably deserve to be studied.
Yeah.
Yeah, yet the whole study about like maybe there was the most common treatment, if memory serves me, is estrogen treatment, was it not? So what there was initials, three initials, H.
WHI.
Um,
Yeah. Women's Health Initiative.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So,
And
yes.
talk to us
And
about that because at the beginning I thought it was the notion, the fear was that it would increase the risk of heart attacks, and then another study came out and said no, maybe it increases the risk of breast cancer. Distill all that for us and just get us out of the misnomers
right.
and into the truth, please.
Okay. Well, first, I do want to say one thing, which you're correct, that women are over half the population. Okay. Yes. And we are understudied and,
Yes, we are.
and underserved in healthcare.
Right.
And guess who makes 80% of the healthcare decisions in America? Right. Women.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong with this picture, which we need to advocate for. But 100% women listen to these sound bites
Yes.
on the news from the WHI, Women's Health Initiative,
Thank you.
2002 reporting that scared them half to death. They thought they were going to either have a heart attack or get breast cancer from hormones therapy, and they threw all their hormones in the toilet. And they have studied those women. I want to tell you about that.
Yes.
In 2024, they came out with a study. They studied 10 million Medicare women, patients, 10 million. That's a big study. They studied them from 2000 to, I think the study was 2020. So it's an 18-year study. It's a big study.
Right.
I'm saying that because that's important. Right?
Very important. Yeah.
And it confirmed that the women who stayed on hormones and didn't throw their hormones off had better long-term health in heart, in bone, in brain, and cancer protection.
Wow, Ellen.
Yes, yes. So what happened was there was a very small, not considered statistically significant increase in breast cancer with the estrogen and progestin group. And it was oral estrogen and it was progestin, which
Okay.
not bioidentical to what women produce in their body. And women don't take that kind of hormones anymore. Most women are on a bioidentical estradiol,
Okay.
transdermally given, which means through the skin, a patch, a cream,
Yeah.
or a ring or something. And the progesterone is bioidentical.
Okay.
What they gave women in those days was not, okay? But it was 1 in 1,000 had an increase of breast cancer. That is, according to science, statistically it doesn't even, yeah, well, it's insignificant, they say.
Yeah.
And that, but that's what they tom-tommed out. And, of course, women freaked out.
Yes, of course.
And in terms of the heart disease situation, when they look back at the women in the study, there were women that should not have been in the study. They were already overweight.
Okay.
They were over 60. Some of them were 72 years old, never been on hormones. Well, they already had cardiovascular issues.
Thank you.
Because if I don't know if you realize this or not, but during this time in our life, our cholesterol can go up. And therefore, you could have blockage when you build cholesterol in your veins, in your arteries.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So these women had been estrogen deprived. And of course, they might have had blockage. And so what might have happened is they started on the hormones too late.
Too late. Everything had already started to gel.
It started to clean out the arteries and it got unlodged. And that could have caused the thrombosis or something.
Yes, of course.
So what we learned from all this is that you want to start hormone therapy within 10 years of menopause.
Okay.
Much younger, right?
Right.
What we learned from this is that the women, this new studying of all these women, what we learned is the women who are on estrogen alone, so they didn't need progesterone because maybe they don't have a uterus. If you have a uterus, you need it.
Right.
They had a reduction in mortality.
Wow.
In mortality risk. They had an increase in mortality.
Yeah.
And they had a reduction in breast cancer, a reduction in lung cancer. They had a reduction in colorectal cancer, and cardiovascular disease and dementia. The women who are on estrogen and progesterone, okay, which is what most of us are on.
Yeah.
If you have a uterus.
Right.
Again, if you don't have a uterus, you just need estrogen.
Okay.
And they're on transdermal, which is a combination, right, of the two. They even had a reduction in endometrial cancer.
Wow.
Ovarian cancer.
Oh boy.
Of course, heart disease and congestive heart failure. So it's the opposite of what women think. Unfortunately, it's really hard to convince women.
It is.
Because it is. I've been trying to do this for 20 years, over 20 years. I've interviewed the top scientists. I go to the Menopause Society conventions. I interview the doctors. I have tried so hard through my free blog, Menopause Mondays, and now through my course, Fearless Vagina. It is really hard to get people to open their mind on the hormones. I say, open your mind and listen to the statistics, okay? Because you don't want to base your healthcare on fear instead of facts.
Right now.
You have to base your healthcare on facts, right? And so I try to educate women so they understand. Because, for me, I want women to lead a very healthy, happy life for as long as possible. And if you're breaking bones, it's not good.
No,
if your cholesterol's out of control, Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. You don't
Yes, it
want
is.
that.
Yes, it is. More than cancer. So that was kind of curious when the studies were coming out. Like women were so afraid of cancer. I get it. I get it. And yet, heart disease kills more women. And
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
let me circle back because I think I heard you say the word "I try." Ellen, you do. You
Oh,
are not trying, girlfriend. You do. And here's what other things Ellen has done. She's chaired and served on numerous boards and committees, including Community Advisory Board of Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, Fresh Start Women's Foundation, San Diego Hospice, Brandeis University, Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest, NARAL, Phoenix Heart Ball, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, Weizmann Institute of Science, Angel Charity for Children, Brewster Auxiliary, Handmaker Home for the Aging. That, my friend, is not trying. That is doing. And I thank you on behalf
wow.
of all of us. What magnificent work you are doing.
Oh, you're so kind. Well, I grew up in a household of activists, and I was taught that I need to give back to the community I live in, and I've always tried to do that in some form. And I'm a very big believer of being proactive about health
Yes.
because my dad died very young of heart disease, and in his family, very few lived past 58. And I have the high cholesterol. I did inherit that. I found out I was 13 years old.
Is that
And thanks to science, people are against science. If it wasn't for science, I probably wouldn't be here at my age.
I'm with you.
But thanks to science, I've been on medication. I educated myself about menopause. I went on hormones. I try to keep my heart healthy, my bones healthy, and it takes a commitment.
Yes, it does.
It does. I mean, I wasn't like a jock. I didn't really like to sweat and get, like I was
Yeah.
not that girl.
Right, right, right.
And yeah, it just wasn't. I'm not even good at any sport. So, I mean, I played tennis, but not, great at it. But I walk with walking partners every week.
Nice.
I do weightlifting at home. You don't need a gym. I talk about all this in Fearless Vagina in the crash course on menopause because it doesn't have to be hard or
Yep.
expensive.
Right now.
But you do have to want to to put yourself on your own to-do list. And that's hard for us because we're usually taking care of everybody else, right?
Outwardly focused.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And it is a hard pivot. But here's what menopause gave to me.
Yes.
It gave me a renewed sense of who I am.
Mm.
Like, I don't know, it was like a freedom. I don't know about you, but I found it to be freeing. Now, maybe it's because I didn't have to worry about the period anymore,
Yeah.
which,
Oh, I
by
know.
the way, was such a pain in the ass.
I
My
know.
period came on every vacation we ever went on, including my honeymoon. Even though I planned it differently, it changed its mind and
Of course
showed
it
up.
did.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
I
oh, I
mean,
know. Oh,
so I found it freeing. And also, as you get older, I think you're less worried about what everybody thinks. And that's freeing because, I think I embrace myself more and I go, yeah, I'm pretty terrific. I never thought I was this or that, but look what I just did. I did that and I'm proud of myself. I never could do that before. I was extremely modest and I would rather support you or put you in the limelight. It's a little bit difficult for me to shine, but I've learned that it's good to love yourself and feel good about yourself.
it's perfectly good and healthy. I mean, this is psychology 101, although like I was raised Christian fundamentalist and we were like during
Oh,
Bible school, joy, Joy, Jesus, others, yourself. I mean, the psychology just was so wrenched in reverse. It was horrible because we have to fill our own cup up first, Ellen, right? And then we fill ourselves to overflowing. And I have this little well, I had it here, a little espresso cup with a saucer, and we fill our cup up first, and then we give out of the saucer. That's good psychology,
Oh,
right?
that's so
Because
smart.
you can't run your car on empty when the fuel light comes on, like, all right, fuel reserve. Like, okay, you might think you're smarter than that idiot light, but just try that one dark night on a back road, right? So why should
Yeah,
we
not
not
good.
regard our bodies with the same kind of attention? So I am completely in alignment with you, and I want you to talk about your work with the Menopause Mondays. Talk with us about how that whole journey and so forth you're learning and what you're teaching us all has shaped your perspective on aging and all of the possibilities for all of us over 60.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I have a cup too that reminds me every day to be fearless about my life.
But here's
Mhm.
my little money cup. But I'm quick to point out, I mean, everybody reduces, wealth to greenbacks. And I say wealth is five components: physical, we're right here today. Physical, mental, we're also right here today. You thought you were like Alzheimer's, right? Pre-Alzheimer's.
Right,
Physical,
right.
mental, relational. How important is not being alone and lonely, right? Spiritual, not religion, spiritual. How do we ground? And then financial. And absent the confluence of those, having one
Totally.
without the other is a less wonderful experience for ourselves and our friends and family. We are not singular, bundles of atoms. We influence more people and souls than we know. And so it's incumbent upon us to be as strong and grounded as possible and take the wisdom that of women like you who have done this suffering largely alone, fearful. You had to be a racquetball wondering what in the heck is wrong with me, right? And then parlaying that into this empowerment, these voices and these messages of empowerment. I'm completely riveted by what you've done and the whole thing that of course you introduce humor because everybody, is laughing about it either to your face or behind your back. And then they calling you the vagina whisperer. I mean, I was laughing out loud, like reading about you last week. It was hysterical.
I, I did say to Katie Couric on her show, and she loved it. I thought they were to bleep it out. They didn't.
No, 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 no. It was
And then
great.
when the producer, when they came to interview me and film one of my menopause events for CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley, I said, "Am I allowed to say vagina?" And they said, "Please do." I said, "Thank you,"
I
because
know.
if we can't talk about it,
Hello.
how are we going to take care of it? I mean, it's not dirty. It's not a sexy. I'm not talking about anything pornographic. It's a
Exactly.
body part. So
Yeah.
yes, I started the Menopause Mondays blog because I wanted to bring the information
Yes.
to my subscribers in a way that was easy to digest. So I would interview the specialists and I would then write a blog. Then I would send it to the doctor and say, I want your approval. Did I interpret everything right? Because it needs
Smart.
to be in girlfriend speak. We're not, most of the people that are subscribing to me are not doctors,
Right.
and they really don't have time to become educated on medical jargon.
Right.
And so that is the essence of my blog. I do try to keep everybody up to date. Like this month, I'm got my Menopause Mondays. If you sign up, it's going to be about heart health. I am going to tell you all the latest studies. I'm going to make sure you understand how to take care of your heart.
Yes.
And all that I offer for free with my Menopause Mondays. Now, my course takes you to another level
Yeah.
of education, but it's only 5 modules and they're 20 minutes each. And they're broken up and very digestible. You could do one a week or
Yes.
something. It's $97.
I
And
know. I'm seeing it. 97
you,
regularly, 197. Gals, get in.
yeah, and the course people were like, Ellen, this is not expensive. This is not a good price. It should be 250, 375. I said, you know what? No, I want women, all women, to
Yeah.
be able to afford my course.
Right.
So, I wanted to think of it as, a Botox, hair color,
Yeah.
whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
throw this in on
Yeah.
that. Uh, save up for it or whatever. But I wanted it to be affordable.
Yeah.
And because for me, it's all about the mission as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the course really takes you through how to take your power back. You're going to understand all the stages of menopause. And by the way, I go into the pre-menopause stage because we all have daughters and we all have daughter-in-laws.
Right now.
And there are women in their 30s who are not ready to have children.
Yeah.
But have no idea how perimenopause is going to affect that timeline.
Yeah, especially as women are pushing childbearing back. Yeah,
exactly. So we're finding more and more women needing IVF and help getting pregnant. And I'm saying, okay, let's do these tests and find out where you are in your ovaries and your production of eggs and how healthy they are and monitor that so you can be in control. Yeah, you might find out you're starting your perimenopausal journey and you're 35. You could be 36. You could be earlier. Every woman's different. And if you are, you can do some things if you want to, grab some eggs or whatever you want to do, but be in control.
Right now.
Of your body. So I teach pre-menopause, peri-menopause, post-menopause. I talk about all the symptoms. I tackle the top 5 because you can't tackle over 30 on the chart. It's too much. But and then I try to help women how to find a menopause specialist because they're out there.
Good.
And then how to prepare for the appointment. Very important. There's lots of things you need to bring with you and prepare yourself because sometimes you only have 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
I know, they fly in, fly. All right, so just drop one or two. We'll buy your course, but just drop one.
Yeah. The preparation or how to find a menopause specialist? Or
both.
I'll tell you anything.
Both. Yeah, both.
Okay. First of all, how do you find a menopause specialist?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, you have to understand that not every gynecologist had training in menopause. It was really shocking to me.
That is shocking.
There was a study done, shocked all of us. And it was, I think it was only a third of GYNs have menopause training. And it's not that they don't want it. It's not offered. And if it is, it's a half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that because of that, we now have something called menopause specialists who have gone through extra training, who decided they want to take care of the woman that is midlife, in her 40s and up, that is in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. Right. And they have gone through special training through the Menopause Society, and then there's some other places as well. So I say the first thing to do is call your gynecologist's office and ask if your gynecologist has had menopause training.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they certified in menopause?
Okay.
If not, find out if somebody in the office is.
Okay.
If nobody in the office is, here's what you want to do. You want to go to menopause.org.
Okay.
And they have a doctor directory of health practitioners that are certified in menopause. Good. And you put in your zip code.
How easy could that be? Everybody, menopause.org. Gosh, thanks.
Go there. Menopause doctor directory. Some of them are not doctors. Some of them are, in different areas of practitioners, but they're certified and they've taken the testing, and they have to update it too.
Good.
And which is important. There's no updating a gynecologist in menopause. The gynecologists tell me that it's not in their update. They don't have to be up on the latest information on menopause. So they don't have to know all the new studies or anything.
If men had vaginas, trust me, this would not be the case. All right, sorry, I digress. Sorry.
No, you're so true. You're so right. And so I say also talk to your sisterhood because, your sister or your girlfriend may have had a great experience with a menopause specialist. I always say reach out to your people,
Yeah.
And definitely research the doctors on themenopause.org and look up their websites, see who resonates with you.
That's it.
Often you can ask for an interview, which I think is helpful because you have to connect.
It's a relationship.
Exactly. I call it your business menopause business partner. Would you be in business with somebody who didn't listen to you,
Right.
didn't respect you, and who dismissed you? No.
Not
So make sure that that menopause specialist is actually someone who you would want to be in business with for your postmenopausal years too, all the
for your
way.
life,
Right.
for your life.
Right. Right. And so that's helpful. And
Good.
then I always think great doctors sometimes know great doctors. So I have a couple doctors I call and say, who do you think is a great blah, blah, blah? You know, even if like I need an orthopedic surgeon or if I
Right.
need, and they'll say, oh, we think he's the best or she's the best. And so, you know, do your research
Good.
and ask questions. And I always tell women, if you're going to a doctor that isn't helping you, fire him.
Right out.
No divorce. It's not like a divorce where you need
No.
a divorce attorney. It costs
No.
nothing.
Yeah. Right now. Walk.
Walk. Yes.
Yeah. We
That's
must
how you
do this,
find a,
Ellen. Gosh, this is so important because women have so often, even in regular relationship divorces, like it gets strung out and we start to lose our resolve. Well, in the meantime, we could be losing facets of our health and our very life. So this is the time we are in our wisest years. I couldn't agree more. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that is so valuable of information, Ellen. Walk. If the person is, I always say about money because, you know, so many women came to me, sometimes still heterosexually married, and they would say, you know, this is the first time you've ever looked at me, the financial advisor ever looked at me. And I always say, do not put your money where your mind isn't welcome. Well, I'm going to say, don't put your body where your mind isn't welcome, right? And your mouth and your feelings, because this is a relationship that is so valuable to us.
I love that comment. Don't put your money where your mind isn't welcome because frankly, we have this uphill battle as women. I mean, it's true. I've been in business. I've been in the men's world,
Yeah.
in business and trust me, it is not always easy. And we have to be bigger, better, wiser. And we usually are,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
And we can multitask and do 100 things at one time. But it's really hard to be heard sometimes
Yes, it is.
because of this very very common problem we have that still in our society,
Yeah.
when a man tells somebody to do something, it is very different than if a woman directs somebody to do something. It just is.
It
It
is.
just is. Yeah.
That.
I mean, I'll tell my husband, you know, we're working on a project or something, and you know, I do the spreadsheet for the the construction process of what I think it should be. I mean, I'm not in construction, managing a project,
Sure.
and I want this to happen. I want this to happen. Da, da, da. And I said to my husband, if I send this to Dave, it'll take him a week to open it. If you send the email, he'll open it tonight. And we tried it.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
David said, that's silly. You should send it. You did it. I don't even know how to do that. And I said, yeah, but they don't think I'm the brains here. Okay. So I send it. I send it and I wait and
Of
I
course.
wait and I wait. We did a test and
Of
I
course you did.
wait. Uh-huh. And then I don't get a response. I give it to David. It's an attachment. And it says, please take a look at this ASAP. That's what I wrote. He writes the same thing. That night, big response. I said, do you see what I mean? Now, sometimes I have him do it just because I don't want to go through the ridiculous BS
Yeah.
of the whole sexist thing. And I just
Exactly.
want to get the job done, you know?
Right.
But
Right. Right.
sometimes I'm not in a hurry and I make them respond to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depends
I
on my
think
mood.
Frankly, I think that is a wonderful combination because you're not simply, acquiescing. You when it matters, you're forging ahead, and then you're sitting back to allow that process to unfold because these are teaching moments. It was surely a teaching moment for your hubs, and to the extent that you share this with any of your closer business associates, people sometimes they need to learn from someone that's close to them. Although, yeah, it strikes an interesting memory. When I was 21 years old and I wanted to learn about investments, well, they were like, "Get away, little girl." I was too young, and they didn't work. They said, "Go sell life insurance." I think they thought I'd be out of the business in like a week and a half. I led the agency for 2 years. So
Good for
uh,
you.
and
I'm
so
not surprised.
yeah, right. Hello. But that's kind of odd, 21-year-old selling life insurance. Like
Totally.
all the training is talk to people within 3 years your age. Like, oh yeah, right, that's happening. So we got this recruit into our office, and he was a tall, white-haired, debonair, retired colonel in the Navy. And I am this little short, born and raised on a farm, just graduated college, child to wipe the wet behind my ear. And they said, "You train him." And I was like, "Oh, seriously?" So we went out and cold called on business. This was hysterical. We went out cold called on business. And every other time, Jim would do the approach. And then and I would listen. And then got in the car, next business, I would do the pitch and the person, whatever. And I said to Jim, now it's your turn. I'll go first. And I said, "I can guarantee you that I'll pose the question and they'll answer to you." And he goes, "Oh, they won't."
Right.
I said,
Exactly.
"Oh, okay." And of course, I posed the pitch, and the guy went right to Jim and he was so much taller as I went whoop, I just had to chew the inside of my
Oh,
cheek.
it wasn't because he was taller, honey.
No, but I noticed the gaze instantly. The gaze instantly was just like, it is nowhere near you, Deb. It is not even trying.
Yeah.
It's not even
Yeah.
trying to feign that he's looking at both of you. Nonsense. Boom. And we get in the car,
Same.
and Jim goes, "I never would have believed it." So all a white man has to do to perpetuate sexism is nothing because the system does it for them.
Exactly. And
Our
I can
voices
be at
have
a
to be.
meeting where I have the same thing today with my husband. He and I are next to each other, and they are talking to David. And then David notices it and he goes, "Ellen, what do you think of this?" Because it bugs him,
Well,
you know?
that's what's going to break it, and kudos to him because that's what's going to break it. When a guy sees a guy saying, "No, wait a minute, I'm either in love with or was birthed by a woman," and like, "No, I'm not going to sit here while they're disregarded." Like, seriously.
It's I'm not sure when it'll change. Actually, I think it might get worse. But sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. So I don't know. But it's really unfortunate because honestly, women are so capable,
So smart. Yeah.
so smart, and so capable, and so they have empathy, and they have an ability to be both tough and also
Yes.
kind. And
Yes.
that is a very difficult, path to walk on, and they know how.
They do.
And it goes over people's head half the
Yeah.
time, which is too bad. And that's why I don't want, menopause to interfere because obviously we can't leave our menopause on the kitchen counter
That's right.
when we
Yeah.
go to work, right? So
Right.
I also speak to companies. They bring me in to talk, and I
Yes,
give them,
Pfizer. You've been with a number
oh yeah,
pharmaceuticals. Yeah.
yeah, Novo Nordisk. I did a menopause campaign, and I try to educate people also in the corporate world, their employees, and I give them a special, now they can have the course with it. And the thing I'm trying to do is to make sure women get the help they need and
Yes.
deserve, so that they can be completely on track for their business desires.
Yes.
And because some women really leave the workforce
Yes, of
because of
course.
menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't all have menopause friendly environments
Oh,
at
not at
work.
all. Not at all.
And we have to ask for that and demand that because other countries have it.
Yeah.
We do not. We need to demand that
I'm
at
I'm
our
completely resonant.
workplace.
I'm completely resonant with it. So just as we wrap up, give us like one lesson that you learned from your own challenge, your own experience, that you can impart on other women seeking resilience and growth, if you will.
Ooh, Well, I think the biggest lesson I learned out of the menopause difficulties that I had was you have to find your voice.
There you go.
And it's not easy to find your voice because of all the reasons we spoke about, really, Deborah, because people are always trying to put us in a box, on the sideline. But often women are doing all the work,
Yes.
but they don't have haven't found their voice, confidence
Right now.
In speaking up and standing up. And I mean, my motto is suffering in silence is out and
Yeah.
reaching out is in. And the reason I created that model is that women are suffering in silence.
Yes, we are.
Because they haven't found their voice. And we need to collectively join the menopause revolution. I call myself a leader of it.
Right now.
And I say, join me in the menopause revolution. If you found anything I said today helpful, go to my website, explore other things, share it with your girlfriends or your children, your daughters, your sisters, your aunts, or, your friends and your coworkers.
Yes.
Because we need to stick together.
Yes, we do.
And find our voice. Ask for what we need. Yeah. No more of this, oh, we're just going to be silent. We need to ask for what we need in our healthcare.
Yep.
And at work. And I always say, my first hot flash was a nightmare. It was, of course, at a boardroom table surrounded by 5 men.
Yes, of course.
And all of a sudden I looked like I'd run a 10K.
Yeah.
I just was drenched.
Yeah.
But, I say, deal with everything with humor and education, because education is our power.
That is.
Right? Yeah. So until I got everything normalized, I would say, look, I'm having a hot flash. It's not contagious and it'll be over in a minute. I promise you're not going to get it. And then they all get embarrassed.
Of course they do.
Yeah. And laugh. And that's it, So, well, but we
just in those little examples, you've just given other women behind you in those same boardrooms license to be.
Exactly.
To be.
Yes. And you know what? I feel like the essence of the sisterhood is always behind me. I don't know about you.
Always.
But yeah, I do. I do. I feel like we're all have to, rise up with each other. And that's why I love what I do, because I know I'm helping women, one woman at a time. And I really cherish that. And it makes me feel like I'm participating in my community, but it also makes me feel like I'm participating in the effort to unleash women and let them be, like you say, let them be and thrive.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I couldn't have asked for a better candidate today. More enlightening information and the enthusiasm of a scholar, a woman who's studied, who's experienced, used that experience, reached out to other people and given us this wonderful site, menopause.org. Find a doctor that's menopause certified, that understands menopause, and then you, because they're different, because everyone's experience is different, and get the help you need, because this can simply be something else in our health journey, or it can be something that pretty much takes on almost 3 or 4 times the weight of a normal incident and bogs us down in other areas. And listen, this is a time that we want to be shedding shame and anything that holds us back, and really spreading our wings and flying. So you've given us license to do that, Ellen. I couldn't thank you enough. Blessings on you. Everybody go to her LinkedIn, Facebook, all of the socials. I will put out, Iris will put out the information. And of course, we'll distribute this video after it transcribes. And we will have you back for sure. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for being so out there and helping women. I love what you do. And I really encourage women to head to ellendolgen.com and be their best advocate by educating themselves.
Thank you so much. We can do it, women. Yes, we can.
We can do it.